Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy Entrepreneur Telesummit. We are in our second season, and I'm your host, Leanne Soller. Today on the call, we have Dr. Daryl Gioffre. He is a chiropractor, an alkaline lifestyle expert, a health coach, a certified raw food chef, a triathlete, an ultramarathoner, an author, and a lecturer. And he uses innovative technology and cutting-edge nutrition to achieve and maintain an optimal level of health and energy. Dr. Gioffre is a former sugar addict turned health machine. He knows firsthand what it takes to overcome adversity and challenges in your health. And his approach is one of moderation, not deprivation. And he is an inspiration to his patients as he totally walks the talk every day to higher levels of health, fitness, and energy. And his specialty is uncovering the root causes of chronic illness using a comprehensive yet simple set of steps, making healthy changes more convenient and sustainable. So thank you very much, Dr. Daryl, for being with us today. How are you?
Oh, wow. I'm doing absolutely awesome. Thank you for that fantastic introduction, and I really want to thank you, and I appreciate being here with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to get started because this is definitely a topic that I don't know much about, alkaline versus acidic foods and how we can really optimize our energy for working long hours like we all do as entrepreneurs. So first, I'd love to hear a little bit about your health journey and if you had a moment where you realized that you needed to make some changes in your health if you were going to have a successful life, a successful business. So tell us a bit about that.
Absolutely. So, right now I have two businesses, and I completely understand everyone who has that busy lifestyle where you're constantly doing things, where you're working, and you have to find this true balance. And for me, that was probably one of the biggest challenges that I had, growing up. I was always looking for a better way, a more efficient way, a more truthful way to really have this massive impact on your health and energy, not just for myself, but for my family and for all the clients that, I was taking care of. But at the same time, seeing that everybody has these busy lives, between business and families and just doing that kind of whole juggle act. So for me, it really started with my own health. At the time, I thought I was doing all the right things. I was a chiropractor. I was getting adjusted. I was taking supplements. I was even running triathlons at the time. But looking back now, during that time, this is when I was in my early 20s, I was 42 pounds heavier than I am right now. And, I had a tremendous willpower that was driving my energy, but when I really looked at it at the end of the day, I was truly exhausted. My willpower got me through the things I needed to do because I was so passionate about what I was doing, but my energy was drained. And I know that there was absolutely something that was missing from my health. So I really started to become a detective, as they say, a health detective. I had this amazing group in front of me with all my clients, my chiropractic practice that I was taking care of, and I really started looking at this group collectively to really figure out what this trend was. On one hand, you had this huge group of people that were, they were tired all the time. They were waking up, hitting the snooze button, 3 or 4 times, trying to get out of bed. They were just drained of energy, and that was pretty much their life. They were sick and tired, and all the things that go with that, and they were living what I call the yo-yo syndrome. There were times in their life that they would do good, and they would slip off track, and then they would do bad. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you had this very, very small amount of people who were these uber healthy people. They had incredible energy. It wasn't just like this burst of energy. It was this all day long energy. They had amazing skin. They were fit. They were energetic. And, there was definitely a big disparity between the two. It didn't matter what the condition or symptom was. The people who were overweight, the people who were stressed, the people who were feeling tired, as I said, even after a good night's sleep, or if they had reflux or bad digestion, I really wanted to find out what that common denominator was in that group. And as I said before, literally became a detective, and I started following the evidence, and that evidence led me to acid. And when I say the common denominator was that all these people had an acidic lifestyle. And it wasn't just the foods that they ate or the things that they drank. It was also the stress in their life. And all those things, combined just created all those different types of symptoms. So I kind of took all that information and I just, went with the fact that, role modeling says success leaves clues. And I started to look at these people who were really these uber healthy people. And I said, okay, if I could just do exactly what they're doing and not reinvent the wheel, I can obtain that same outcome. And that's exactly what I did. And I started really just researching and really uncovering what these specific things were. And, within a few months, that's how I created, this get off your acid system, which is really a simple system because myself, I was so busy and, didn't have the time. So I wanted to really come up with a way that would get me the outcome I wanted in terms of getting health and energy. And for me, if I was to really define health in one word, it's your energy levels. But while at the same time, making this thing so simplistic that you can fit it into your busy life. And it was incredible. After doing about 6 months of this, program that I actually created, I had lost 42 pounds. It was incredible. Looking back at the time, I didn't think I was overweight, but, I definitely noticed the toxic weight looking back at the pictures now. So I had lost 42 pounds in 6 months. And the best thing I think I noticed was that my energy returned like it was in my early 20s. And it was just a massive change in my overall health. And it's just been upward and onward from there. So it's just been an incredible journey. And as you mentioned, when you were talking about it, it really is not about deprivation, which we could talk more about. It's about adding things into your health. And that's exactly what I did with myself.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh, what a story. And, I think a lot of us have to go through one of those kind of awful moments where we just feel so bad about our health and just feel terrible. And then it's almost like we need to be there in that kind of, that mud puddle, awful feeling for us to actually realize that we need to make a change. And it sounds like you definitely did that. And I love that you used your own journey to help other people, and that you kind of looked to other successful people and kind of just thought about how can I utilize what they're doing and what they already know and implement that into your own life and into your own practice. So I think that's awesome. I'd love for you to tell us why acid. What is it about acid that is such a problem for us?
Well, if you think about acid from a common standpoint, think about what acid does. When you think about that word, acid is something that's corrosive. It's so corrosive it can actually burn a hole through metal. So if acid could burn a hole through metal, think about what that's doing inside of your body. Think about what that's doing to your digestive system, to your cardiovascular system, to your entire body. And I think that's one of the key takeaways that you want to really want to talk about when it comes to an acidic lifestyle. When you look at different types of foods, a food is broken down when it's metabolized into your body into what we call an ash. And that ash can have a certain pH, and that can actually be measured. So there are foods that are what we call alkaline, which is basically foods that are good for you. We're going to keep it really simple. And then there's all the other foods that are what we call acidic, which has an acidic ash, and those are foods that are bad for you. So when you're looking to really kind of, transition this type of lifestyle, the most important thing that you need to understand is that it's not about being perfect. I tried that for years. It doesn't work. There's no way it can sustain itself. It's really about just being about having a moderated lifestyle. And I use something called the 80-20 principle, which means if you're putting 80% or even 70%, or if, you want to go 90%, that's cool too for the overachievers on the call. But if you're using this 80-20 lifestyle where you're really focusing on 80% of these alkaline-forming foods to your body and really no more than 20% of these acid-forming foods to your body, you're going to be doing awesome. You're going to be making progress. I think that at the end of the day, it's really about progress, not perfection. If you're making small little wins, small little gains over and over and over, eventually those little gains are going to become one big geometric change. It's just like compounding interest in the market. Something that compounds over time is going to become a big geometric change, and it's no difference from your health. So I think that's the real important thing, is that you got to know what's really going to give you the best bang for your buck. What are those few small things that are going to have the most massive change in terms of your energy and your health at the end of the day? And then once you know what those things are, do them. Do them consistently. Do them day in and day out. And as long as you're doing those things, at the end of the day, no matter what your day ends up being, you're going to be moving in the right direction. Awesome. But again, when it comes down to the acid, that's really the things that we want to decrease in our life. And I think the biggest problem is that when you look at the standard American diet, and it's kind of funny, if you look at the three words, the three letters that start those words, SAD, it's really the SAD diet. 90% of the American population is eating this standard American diet, or what I like to call the modern acid diet. And I think that's the biggest problem. So, we're seeing a complete reversal of the way that we want to do it. So if right now, you're listening and you happen to be 20/80 like I once was in terms of, acidic foods, because you're talking to a former sugar addict, so I totally know what it's like. You don't want to go from 20-80 to 80-20. It's too much of a change. So, again, think progress. Start to add the little things that are going to make the biggest change in your life and go from 20-80 to 30-70, then to 50-50. Then to 60-40. And before you know it, doing it this way, you're going to get to 80-20, but the best thing about it is that it's going to sustain itself. And at the end of the day, that's the difference with the alkaline lifestyle compared to all these other fad diets, is those other fad diets, they just don't sustain themselves. You know, people are losing fat. I mean, they're losing water, not fat, and that's why they're they're going through that yo-yo syndrome. So when you do it the right way, you're going to get the outcome that you want, but you're going to do it in a way that's going to be healthy and that's going to sustain itself.
Okay, so there are a lot of really important points that you just made there. The fact of, progress, not perfection, making small changes. And with my clients, I like to call it baby steps. And I think a lot of the time we go for an all or nothing approach and it fails. We try something and we try it 100% and it doesn't work. So I love that you talked about doing small things and making small changes. Just one, out of curiosity, is sugar acidic?
Sugar is probably one of the most acid-forming things you could put into your body. I would put it at the top of the list, next to things like gluten, which is a big one, and artificial sweeteners. But sugar, I would say, is probably one of the biggest ones. I think it's probably one of the biggest challenges most people have, because it's not just the candy and the processed sugars, but it's also the hidden sugars. People don't realize that there is as much sugar in a bagel as there is in a can of Coca-Cola. People don't realize that bananas, and I just wrote a blog about this, that bananas are 25% sugar. So people are eating bananas thinking that they're doing something healthy for themselves. And listen, there's a lot of good healthy components in a banana. It's got a high mineral content, but the problem is bananas are sugar. It's right next to pineapple in terms of the sugar content. And to your body, there is no such thing as natural sugar or natural fruit. Sugar is sugar in any way that you look at it. And the problem is that when you have something sugary in your body, whether it's a banana or something, like a bagel, that is going to undergo a process of fermentation in terms of how it's broken down, and that is going to turn to acid immediately into your body, and that is going to have some damaging effects. So it's knowing what foods are alkaline forming for your bodies and what foods are acidic for your body. But more importantly, it's not what the food is outside of the body, it's what the food does inside your body. And when I say that, you can look at your top 4 citric acid fruits. You have lemons, limes, grapefruits, and oranges. 3 of those are alkaline forming, 1 of those are acid forming. So the question is which one is acid forming? All right? The answer is the orange. Now, why is that? Because all 4 of them are very high in minerals, which is good, but the orange is very high in sugar. And that's why when, someone's under the weather feeling sick, the last thing you ever want to give them is something like orange juice, because that sugar is going to turn into acid and it's going to feed that bacteria, and it's just going to create a vicious cycle. So it's just really knowing what these things will do into your body and how you can combine them with other foods. So I'm not saying don't eat the banana. What you would need to do is combine that banana with a healthy fat, like a coconut butter or a raw almond butter, or some cinnamon or some turmeric. And what that's going to do, it's going to slow down the metabolization of the sugars when they go into your body, and that's going to be the goal. It's going to prevent the insulin from spiking, and overall, you'll get the benefits of the banana without the downside of the acid.
Oh, that's so good. So, okay, so I admit it. I eat a lot of bananas. I love bananas. They're like my favorite fruit. But I definitely agree with you about there's no such thing as natural sugar. And I think that a lot of people have that belief that if you eat fruit versus, a table sugar, that it's better for you. But ultimately what it does in the body is the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's all about what happens once inside the body. And when you look at your alkaline fruits, your best alkaline fruits are things like lemons and limes and grapefruits and avocados. I mean, avocado is one of my favorite things. I eat it every single day. I try to incorporate it. It's a healthy fat. It's another misconception. You have to understand that there are fats that heal your body, which is good, and there's fats that kill your body. So if you're looking to lose weight or whatever it is, you have to put more healthy fats in your body. There's a reason why avocados are called God's butter. So avocados are a great alkaline fruit. Tomatoes are a great alkaline fruit. Things like pomegranates and coconut water and, coconut milk and coconut butter. These are all really, really healthy forms of alkaline fruits. And then you have the rest. So Again, it's not about saying you can't have those fruits. If you are going to have an acidic fruit, limit it to one a day. Make sure that it's in season. And again, like I love to have berries. One of my favorite desserts is having some strawberries and some blueberries. But what I do is I put some chopped up mint in it, and I'll add some coconut butter. Again, so that it doesn't going to really affect it's not going to really make it as acidic if you didn't have that fat. So the key thing is if you are going to have one of those sugars that has one of those fruits that has a little bit more sugar than you want, it's really important that you add one of these very healthy forms of fat just to help it within your body once it's consumed.
So food pairing is really important, is what I'm hearing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how we can have more energy, because I know for myself and a lot of entrepreneurs in my community and worldwide and people that are listening to this interview, a lot of us work long hours and, we're pretty much chained to our desk, looking at the computer screen all day. And having low energy is a huge problem for so many of us. And I know a lot of people who just sit there drinking coffee all day. So what would you tell us? Like, what are some of your tips for increasing energy? Obviously, it's the alkaline versus acidic, but can you give us a bit more in terms of detail for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I know coffee is such a big one for so many people. And again, I'm never going to tell you not to have your coffee, but if you are going to have your coffee, which is literally one of the most acidic things for your body as well, you want to basically have things in your body that are going to help your body deal with the effects that coffee does once it's inside your body. And when I say deal with the effects, something that can neutralize acid. And that's why one of the first things I do the second I get up is I have a scoop of my daily greens. So one of the things I created was this daily greens, which is it's a concentrated powder, and one scoop of this greens is the equivalent of 5 servings of organic greens. Wow. It's concentrated. It is so highly alkalizing. And for me, the second I get up, I want to have some hydration in my body, but I want to have that hydration become a superfood. So when I put this scoop of greens in the water and mix it and drink that, it's instant energy. The best thing about it is that in a liquid form, it's much more effective because it gets right into your bloodstream. And when it gets into your blood, it can start really neutralizing the effects that acid has. So I love to start my day with a glass of daily greens. That's one of the most important things I do. But just going back to something even more simple, I think we got to get back to the basics, something that you can take with you anywhere you go. And it's amazing because I coach so many different types of people, and it's amazing how we get so stressed because we're so busy, and what do we stop doing? We stop breathing. We get into what I call this fight or flight lifestyle, and we freeze. And it's really interesting how we breathe 12 to 20 times a minute to be alive, but we really don't breathe to be alive. And there's a big difference between the two. So it's not just about getting the oxygen in your body. I know it's like he's talking about breathing. It's so simple, but it really has an impact, and you got to believe me on this.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about getting the oxygen in, it's about getting the carbon dioxide gas out of your body. The analogy I have is your car. The gas fuels your car, but what if I was to put something in my tailpipe that was to prevent the carbon monoxide gas from leaving? It's going to back up into the car, and eventually it's going to kill you. Well, it's no different when we don't breathe. When we don't breathe, our body collects all this carbon dioxide gas, and the problem with that is carbon dioxide gas is 120 times more acidic than every other acid combined in your body. Now, I'm talking about the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, I'm talking about the lactic acid in your muscles, and even the uric acid in your urine. So if we're not breathing, we're trapping in this acid, and it's going to drain your energy because when your body's acidic, your body is going to do anything to neutralize that acid because the most important number in your body is the pH of your blood, and that number is 7.365. And how you remember that, it's very easy. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, your blood needs to be tightly regulated at 7.365. And that number is the most important number because if that deviates by more than 1 point, you're dead. So what happens is that if we're not breathing or if we're not putting in these alkaline-forming foods, your body will find a way to regulate that pH because, again, if that dips too far down towards the acid level, we're going to be in trouble. So what your body does is starts to find ways to neutralize the acid. And the fastest way to do that is by alkaline minerals, things like calcium, things like magnesium, things like potassium. And again, where's our biggest mineral bank? It's your bones. It's your muscles. So if you're feeling things, if you're dealing with osteoporosis, or if you're feeling with joint or muscle pain or fatigue, or even things like tooth decay, it means that your body's in an acidic state. So doing something as simple as what I call a 3-6-5 power breath, where the 3-6-5 is the ratio of seconds. So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds, you're going to hold it for 6, you're going to exhale for 5. All right, and what you're going to do is ideally do that 10 repetitions. Mm-hmm. All right, I recommend if you start your day with, a glass of greens and that breathing exercise, it literally will take you 2 minutes. Your energy is going to be through the roof. You're not going to need that cup of coffee. So that's really how I start my day. Mm-hmm. There's other things that you can do. I think hydration is a big one. Yeah. 90% of American population is dehydrated. We're chronically dehydrated. And again, keeping this simple, if you look at a plant and the plant starts to wilt, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Water, right? But most doctors would say drugs or surgery, right? So we got to get back to the basics and give your body the water that it needs. So the average person loses about 2.5 liters of water every single day. So we want to get at least 3 to 4 liters of alkaline water that's purified or filtered, and that has something in it that's going to really alkalize your system. So again, adding something like our daily greens or our daily minerals, which is those 4 crucial minerals I talked about. And those are the 2 supplements that we take every single day. So you really want to do things like getting more oxygen into your body with the power breath, getting more water, getting the greens in, getting the minerals in, and I think exercise. We've got to move our bodies. Sitting has become the new smoking. We all sit at our desks all day long. We're stuck. It just becomes this vicious cycle. So we got to get up and move our bodies. 10 minutes a day. We can all find 10 minutes. As busy as we are, it's about priority. It's about the why. And if you wrap a big enough reason behind what you want as your outcome, I promise you will find a way to get it done. And again, I think you got to start your day this way. So get up 10 minutes earlier. You can do something like a rebounder, which is like a mini trampoline where you're just bouncing up and down. It's lymphatic drainage. It's going to energize you. And these are all little simple things that you can do to really ramp up your energy so that it's going to last all day long.
Those are some really, really great tips. And it's funny because a lot of them are so basic, but we forget, right? Like the most basic things are the ones that we kind of ignore. And I think a lot of us, especially with breathing, I think a lot of us forget that we have to breathe to survive, but we're not actually paying attention, and we're not taking that time to breathe properly. So I love that. I love that strategy that you gave us. So just a clarification about the water. How many liters did you say that we should be drinking a day?
Ideally, you want to aim for 3 to 4. I mean, if you want a simple way to figure it out, you want to go for half of your body weight in ounces of water. So if I'm 150 pounds, you want to shoot for 75 ounces of water. Okay. But you got to remember that it's not just the quantity of water; it's also the quality of the water. And you guys got to remember, coffee doesn't count. So it's about your energy inventory at the end of the day. There's things that can go into it's like a checking account. Are you putting in more deposits or withdrawals? It's the same thing with your energy. So when it comes to your water, you really want to shoot for 3 liters. And again, think of ways that you can really make this thing become more realistic. So for me, I always have a water bottle in front of me at my office or at home. Out of sight, out of mind. If it's not there, you're not going to drink. And the days that I don't have it there are the days I'm not going to drink the water. It's as simple as that. Another thing you can do is wrap the water drinking around some habits that you do. So, for instance, if you brush your teeth in the morning and you brush your teeth at nighttime, you should make this a rule for yourself that I am not allowed to brush my teeth until you have a glass of water, an 8-ounce glass of water. So that's an extra 16 ounces of water there that you typically wouldn't have. But then again, when you're getting your water into an alkaline state, you're supercharging it, it's going to get into your tissues a lot more fast. So we call it structured water. So if someone was drinking tap water, which has about 316 different contaminants, which can be very acidic for your body, and I'm drinking alkaline water, I would literally need to drink less to get the same effect that you're drinking. So quantity is important, but you have to understand quality is just as important. Something as simple as adding a lemon slice to your water or a lime slice or a dash of our daily minerals is going to really get that water into an alkaline state or make it more alkaline forming once inside your body. And it's going to get into your tissues faster, making you more hydrated. And when you're more hydrated, your energy is going to be much higher. I mean, a 5% drop in your body fluids can actually cause a 25 to 30% reduction in your energy levels. Wow. That's how powerful hydration is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I'm really, really good with hydrating too. And I notice that when I don't drag my water bottle around with me, I get headaches, my mood is off, my energy levels are low. So, I mean, there's so many effects of hydration and lack of hydration as well. So that's definitely a really important point. And I love that you just, that you clarified about the quality of the water too, because I think that's really important. Would you say that bottled water is a better option than tap water, or is it pretty much the same?
Not, I would say definitely not. In fact, the problem with bottled water is now you're dealing with so many of these plastics that have BPA, which is bisphenol A, which is a well-known carcinogen.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at some of these alkaline waters that actually will say on the bottle 9.5, but I got to tell you, I've tested a lot of these waters. That water might be 9.5 pH, which is actually a good pH. You want to really aim for a pH between 8 and 9.5. And I'm using this word pH and I'm throwing it around, but if anyone doesn't understand what that means, it's a very simple scale. I mean, going back to, middle school, where the scale goes from 0 to 14. 0, as I talked about earlier, is pure acid, can burn a hole through metal. 14 is alkaline, pure alkaline. 7 is neutral. So anything above 7 is going to be alkaline. Anything below 7 is going to be acidic. And your body, as I mentioned, to thrive needs to be in that slightly alkaline state, as does the food and drink that you put into your body. Right. So you really want to aim for a pH of between 8 and 9.5, but the problem with most bottled water is they're acidic. So again, I think the best thing to do is to invest in a filter, because the most important thing that you want to have is clean water. Right. Once you have the clean water, it's very easy to get that water more alkaline. Again, by doing something as simple as adding, a lemon slice, or by adding some healthy sea salt, like some Celtic grade sea salt or some Himalayan sea salt, or a dash of our daily minerals, which is probably the most powerful buffer or neutralizer of acid. So that's what I do.
Okay, cool. So one last question. I would love for you to tell us, what's your favorite snack or food for energy, for like increasing your energy?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's probably the most important thing, because to be really successful in this lifestyle, you have to really, prepare. And I notice for me, when I don't have those snacks, that's when I kind of fall off track. So I think it's really having some healthy snacks in front of you for the in-between meals, and it keeps your metabolism going. So I love to make my own healthy trail mix. I'll get a bunch of different things and make a big bag of it at home, and we'll make small Ziploc bags. But I'll put in it, some raw almonds, some cashews, some cacao nibs, some unsweetened coconut flakes, some hemp seeds, which is a powerful omega-3, 6, 9 fatty acids, even some chia seeds. I love things like raw almond butter. I love chia bars. I love smoothies, and smoothies is a really powerful way to really get a lot of nutrition in something that's going to really fill you up. And that's one of the biggest things in our 7-day cleanse, is that we have smoothies for breakfast, because number one, they're filling. Number two, they could be super alkaline forming. And number three, they're yummy. And what I love to do is make a big smoothie in the morning, and then what I'll do is I'll make extra of it, and then I'll bring the extra with me to work, in an airtight container, and I'll have that for a snack later on in the day. So those are some of my favorite things. And as long as you have them, throughout your day, it's going to make your success rate a lot higher. Because again, if you're not getting these different things in your body, at the end of the day, you're going to be a little bit more ravish, and that's where we're going to end up, sometimes leaning more towards those empty carbohydrates, or craving more of those types of sugars. But for me, it's about getting these minerals in my body, because what I noticed about my sugar addiction, and this is something that the doctors never told me, because I don't think they literally knew about this, but anyone that craves sugar, or anyone that or is addicted to sugar like I was, your body is really craving magnesium. It's a deficiency in these alkaline minerals, so the more minerals you can give it, you're going to really move away from those cravings. And again, it's by adding. I think the healthy snacks is where it starts.
So good. I love that. Yeah, I'm a big smoothie person too, and also trail mix. I love nuts. Nuts are like one of my favorite foods.
And it's important that you have raw nuts, because dry roasted nuts undergo a chemical change, which turns to a trans fatty acid. So you got to make sure that you're getting the nuts in the raw form. Okay,
that's a really good point, actually. Cool. I'm going to take note of that. So we're just about out of time, unfortunately. I mean, I have so many more questions for you, but I want to be mindful of the clock. So I'd love for you to tell us a bit about the free gift that you have. We talked about this earlier, but I'd love for you to just tell the audience a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Anyone who is listening to this is going to get my Ultimate Alkaline Acid Food Guide for free. It's really one of the most amazing guides that there is. There's nothing like it out there. I basically took over 550 types of food, so any food you can think of is in this list. and we created three different lists within this guide. One of them is going to have all of your foods in alkaline categories. So you'll have your meats, you'll have your your beverages, you'll have your desserts, you'll have your fruits, and basically it's going to tell you what foods are alkaline, and it's going to classify them as highly alkaline, moderately alkaline, and slightly alkaline. Then we did the same thing for all the acidic foods. So we basically took all the acidic foods, we categorized them into their proper food category, and did that. And then the third list that we did was we created, which is my favorite, an A to Z list, which has all 550 foods in an A to Z alphabetical order. So if you want to know if bananas are acidic or alkaline, or if you want to know what tofu is or coffee is, you can go to the A to Z list. You can look it up. It'll tell you exactly the alkaline state. So you can just make better food choices. And this is something you could take with you to the grocery store. This is something you can travel with, because it's really going to help you make better decisions. And at the end of the day, it's about the quality of the choices you make. The quality of the choices you make are going to determine how well you do with your health and your energy moving forward. So this guide, for me, is the foundation of everything that I do, and I'm happy that we're going to give it away to everybody today for free.
So cool. So we're going to have the link for that to get that list in the email that came with the interview, and also right below the audio for this interview. The link will be there as well to go pick that up. So anyone who's listening, definitely take advantage. This is a huge resource for you, a really important resource for you. And I hear that you have another little bonus raffle that you're going to be doing. So tell us a little bit more about that.
We are, and I'm super excited about this. We're going to raffle off for 3 lucky people the Get Off Your Acid 7-Day Cleanse. This is really, all the stuff that we're talking about today is what I condensed into the 7-day powerful, impactful system, and it's an incredible program. This is the program that Kelly Ripa said was a manageable program, and she was eating more than she did on this and any other thing that she did in her life. So you're not going to starve on this. It's not a deprivation cleanse, and you're going to get this cleanse. It's going to include all the digital materials, and there's about 13 or 14 different guides in it. It's going to have all my recipes, so 115 of my best alkaline recipes, including smoothies and breakfasts and lunches and dinners and snacks and desserts that are going to blow your mind away. I mean, these desserts are so good you're going to feel like you're cheating. So it includes the whole system, which is a digital system, and we're also going to include a canister of our daily greens and our daily minerals superfood alkaline supplement, and those each are a 30-serving canister. So it's an awesome program, and we're going to be raffling that off, and 3 people will be receiving that. So I'm very excited about it. And what you're also going to gain access to is my private Facebook group, where we have this just amazing community of people who are like-minded on the Get Off Your Acid program, and it's just a great support system where I'm in there all the time answering questions and giving my best tips and tricks on how to really keep this lifestyle alkaline with such a busy life.
So good. That's really exciting. I'm so happy and thankful that you are giving this to some of our lucky audience members, because it's definitely a huge opportunity for them to really learn about the alkaline diet and what it is and how it works, and really see some great results. So thank you, Dr. Daryl, for being here today. I definitely learned a lot from you, because I really didn't know that much about alkaline versus acidic. And I think a lot of our audience members will take advantage of your gift, and I'm sure they also learned a lot as well, because this is not a topic that is very mainstream. So thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom, and I really, really appreciate you being here and giving away your gift.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for having me, and it was great to be here. And if there's any way I can support anyone moving forward, our website is getoffyouracid.com. We have a lot of great information on there, and I'm here for anyone should you need anything. So thank you so much. It was an absolute privilege to be here, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daryl. Have a fantastic afternoon.
Same with you.
Bye.